Welcome back to The Clean Truth by Roobi.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on. Always good to be here.
So this is our 17th episode, and it's titled Better Laundry Habits. Small changes that save water, energy, and clothes.
Right. Which, sounds incredibly domestic, almost mundane on the surface.
Yeah, exactly. But it's actually such a crucial topic because I think when we talk about sustainability or, trying to be green, we tend to picture these massive, dramatic lifestyle changes.
Oh, totally. You think you need to, I don't know, install solar panels tomorrow or sell your car and only ride a bicycle.
Right. Grow all your own food. It just feels overwhelming, like you have to completely upend your life to make a difference.
But the reality, and this is really the core premise of the research we're diving into today, is that sustainability doesn't always require those massive overhauls.
No, not at all.
Often it's just about these small, really simple adjustments in your everyday routines that create a huge environmental impact.
Yeah, the sources actually talk about this as the compound effect.
Exactly. It's this idea prominent in sustainability discussions that incremental habit shifts, if you just repeat them consistently, they significantly reduce resource use and waste over time.
It's just tweaking the autopilot.
Exactly. It's not about being a perfect eco-hero once a year. It's about being smart every single week.
And so today, we're focusing on the laundry room. And we're going to give you a really practical overview of how simple habits, things like washing in cold water, running full loads instead of half ones.
Oh, the half loads are killers.
Right, and avoiding overdosing your detergent. Plus things like air drying when possible and choosing efficient products, how all of that can save water, lower your energy consumption, and actually extend the lifespan of your garments.
It's what we call a triple win scenario.
Oh, I love a triple win. Break that down for us.
Okay, so win number one is obvious, right? Protecting the planet, you're saving resources. Win number two is protecting your fabrics. Smarter routines reduce unnecessary wear and tear.
So you don't have to keep buying new shirts.
Exactly. And win number three, which honestly everyone cares about, is saving money. Lower utility bills, less money spent on replacing clothes.
Yeah, that aligns so perfectly with our philosophy here at Roobi. The whole goal is creating effective, low-impact cleaning solutions that support these better habits without adding complexity.
Right, because if it's too complex, people just won't do it.
Exactly. We want clean clothes, but we don't want it to be a massive chore. So let's explore how small shifts in your laundry routine can lead to cleaner clothes, lower impact, and longer-lasting garments.
Let's do it.
I want to start with energy, because if you asked me, or probably anyone, what part of a washing machine uses the most power, I would immediately say the motor.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's loud, it's spinning all those wet, heavy clothes around.
Right. It looks like it's doing a ton of hard work.
But it's actually a completely minor player in the grand scheme of the machine's energy draw. Yeah. The statistic that absolutely anchors this deep dive is this. On average, 90% of a washing machine's energy consumption goes solely toward heating the water.
90%.
90, yep. Only 10% is the motor, the electronics, the display, all of that. The vast majority of the electricity you're paying for is literally just heating up the water.
That is just it's a staggering inefficiency. It's basically a giant water heater that occasionally spins.
That is a perfect analogy, and the sources offer this visualization that I think makes it super concrete. If you switch just one single load of laundry from hot to cold water,
Okay. One load?
just one, you save enough electricity to power the average American home for over an hour.
Wait, hold on. One load of laundry equals a full hour of powering a whole house.
Yes, think about your baseline power draw. The fridge compressor, the Wi-Fi router, the lights, the TV, all of that running for 60 minutes is roughly equal to the thermal energy it takes to heat the water for a single hot wash cycle.
That puts it in such a crazy perspective because we stress out about leaving a light bulb on.
Oh yeah, we yell at our kids to turn off the bathroom light.
Exactly. But then we just mindlessly press the hot or warm button on the washer, and we've blown way more energy in 1 hour than that LED bulb uses in an entire month.
It really exposes how flawed our intuition about energy can be. We notice the visible stuff, the lights, the screens, but the invisible thermal heavy lifting, that's where the massive drain is.
And obviously, that drain shows up directly on the bank statement.
Big time. The data varies depending on where you live, of course, but just switching to cold water can save a typical household up to $150 on their yearly energy bill.
$150 just for pressing a different button.
Literally just for changing the default setting. It's money you're currently just pouring down the drain.
Okay, so the financial argument is a slam dunk. The environmental one is a slam dunk.
Hmm.
But I have to play the skeptic for a second because I know what you're thinking as you listen to this.
Does it actually clean?
Right. Because we've been conditioned for decades that heat equals clean. If I drop, I don't know, a piece of pizza on my shirt, my instinct is to blast it with hot water to melt the grease.
And honestly, to be fair to the skeptics, if this was 30 or 40 years ago, they'd be entirely right.
They would.
Yeah. Back in the day, detergents were basically just simple soaps. And for soap to work effectively, it needed heat to dissolve properly and to physically melt those fats and greases.
Because heat melts grease. That's just physics.
Exactly. Heat was the necessary catalyst. But the chemistry of laundry has evolved so much. To understand this, we have to look at something called the Sinner Circle.
The Sinner Circle.
Yeah.
That sounds like a heavy metal band or something.
It does, right.
Mm.
But it's actually this fundamental concept in professional cleaning. So imagine a pie chart, and it has 4 slices.
Okay.
Temperature, time, mechanical action, which is the scrubbing or spinning, and chemical action.
Yeah.
The golden rule of the Sinner Circle is that if you shrink one slice, let's say temperature, you have to increase another slice to get the exact same cleaning result.
So if we take away the heat, we have to boost something else to compensate.
Precisely. And what modern detergent manufacturers have done, and the source specifically mentions formulations like Tide's cold water design, is they've massively increased that chemical action slice.
By using enzymes.
Exactly. Enzymes are the game changer.
So break that down for us. How do enzymes actually replace the need for hot water?
Think of enzymes as biological keys that are looking for very specific locks. So you have protease enzymes that hunt down proteins, amylase for starches, lipases for fats.
Okay, they target specific stains.
Right. And historically, those enzymes needed a warm environment to wake up and start working. But modern bioengineering has created these incredibly aggressive enzymes that are highly active even in cold water, down to like 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow, so the soap itself is just a lot smarter now.
Much smarter. Instead of using thermal energy to break the bond of the dirt, you're using the chemical energy of the enzyme. So there really is no trade-off anymore.
You aren't sacrificing the clean for the sustainability.
Not at all. The science essentially solved the problem. The heat is redundant.
Unless I imagine there are exceptions, like sanitizing.
Right, yeah. If you're washing cloth diapers or hospital scrubs where you specifically need to kill bacteria, you still need heat. But for daily laundry, cold water and enzymes do the heavy lifting perfectly.
Which brings us nicely to the second part of that triple win you mentioned earlier, fabric care. Because if hot water is aggressive enough to melt grease, it's probably pretty aggressive on the clothes themselves.
It is so aggressive. The textile industry actually has a term for it. They call it thermal shock.
Thermal shock. Man, laundry science is dramatic.
It is, but it's traumatic for the fibers.
Right.
When you take natural fibers like cotton or wool and expose them to high heat and agitation, they swell up and then they contract really rapidly.
And that's why things shrink.
That's exactly why they shrink. And I think everyone has pulled a favorite sweater out of the dryer that looks like it would fit a toddler.
Too many times, unfortunately.
Right. So that's thermal shock, but it also causes fading. The heat essentially opens up the structure of the fiber and lets the dye molecules escape into the water.
Ah, so that's why my black jeans turn gray after a few months.
Yep. And why red shirts turn pink. And beyond that, heat causes something called fibrillation.
Fibrillation.
Yeah, it's when the heat roughens up the surface of the fiber. It makes clothes look fuzzy and worn out way faster.
Okay, so strictly from a fashion perspective, if you just care about your clothes looking new and crisp for as long as possible, cold water is vastly superior.
Vastly. It keeps the fiber smooth and locks the dye in. And tying that back to sustainability, this is huge. The absolute most sustainable garment in the world is the one you already own.
Oh, that is such a great point. We put so much focus on, buying organic cotton or shopping from sustainable brands.
Which is good.
It is good. But just keeping a shirt in your rotation for 3 years instead of throwing it out after one because it faded, that is a massive reduction in your personal waste.
Exactly. Extending the lifespan of the products you have is one of the easiest ways to lower your carbon footprint. And honestly, all it takes is pressing the cold button.
Okay, so we've covered the temperature, the chemistry, the fabric. Let's talk about the hardware, the washing machine itself. The research heavily emphasizes HE machines. So what does that mean, and why should we care?
He just stands for high efficiency. And if you are currently shopping for a new washer, or if your old one is making those terrible clunking noises...
Like it's trying to escape the laundry room.
Exactly. If it's time for an upgrade, getting an HE machine is basically non-negotiable at this point. The difference in resource usage is night and day.
Give us the numbers. How much better are they?
High-efficiency washers use up to 80% less water than traditional front loaders or those old top loaders with the big pole in the middle.
Wait, 80% less,
Mhm.
not just 8.
80, 80. Think about the old machines. They worked by filling the entire drum to the brim with water until your clothes were literally submerged and then thrashing them back and forth with that agitator.
Right, the agitator.
Yeah.
The thing that somehow ties all my hoodie drawstrings into an impossible knot.
Yeah, that thing. He machines don't rely on that. They use a tumbling action, or if it's a top loader, a low-profile impeller plate at the bottom.
Okay.
So instead of a deep bath, they basically just lift and drop the clothes, spraying water through them.
Kind of like a shower instead of bathtub.
That's exactly it. And honestly, this actually freaks some people out at
Oh,
first.
really? Why?
Because they buy an HE machine, they look through the little glass door, and they see barely any water. They think, how on earth is this getting anything clean?
Oh, I've had that thought. It literally just looks like a pile of damp clothes slapping against each other.
But that slapping, that friction of clothes rubbing against clothes is actually a much more effective and gentle cleaning mechanism than an agitator. Plus, because there's so much less water, the detergent isn't super diluted.
Oh, right. It's more concentrated.
Exactly. It's
Ugh.
not watered down in 40 gallons of liquid.
And I imagine without that huge plastic pole taking up the center of the drum, you can fit a lot more in there.
Huge capacity benefits. You can run full, massive loads.
Which means doing fewer loads overall. If
Yeah.
I can knock out 5 baskets of laundry in 3 loads instead of 5, I'm saving time, water, and electricity all at once.
It's the ultimate efficiency. However, and you knew there was a however coming.
There's always a catch.
Right, all of this, the HE machines, the cold water, it all relies incredibly heavily on one specific variable that we really need to highlight,
The detergent.
the detergent. This is where the whole system can fall apart. The sources warn very specifically about something called the rewash trap.
The rewash trap. That sounds ominous.
It's a classic false economy. Here's how it happens. You want to save money, right? So you buy the absolute cheapest bargain detergent on the shelf. Or maybe you try some DIY natural recipe you saw online that doesn't actually have any of those engineered enzymes we talked about.
Right. You're trying to be eco-friendly or frugal. You feel virtuous.
You do. So you put your cheap detergent in your fancy HE machine, you select cold water, and you run it. But when you pull the clothes out, the stains are still there, or they still have that faint gym clothes smell.
Because the chemical slice, the center circle, was too small.
Exactly. The detergent couldn't do the heavy lifting, so what do? You get frustrated and you throw them right back in for a second wash.
And I'm guessing out of pure annoyance, you probably turn the dial to hot water the second time just to make sure it works.
Almost always. And boom, just like that, you have doubled your water usage, doubled your energy draw, doubled the wear and tear on your clothes.
Oh, so by trying to skimp on the soap, you completely negated every single sustainability effort you made.
You actually went backward. It is really expensive to be cheap in the laundry room.
That is such a crucial insight. Choosing the right product isn't just about brand loyalty. It's literally an environmental strategy. You need a formula that works the first time.
Right. You have to look for high-quality detergents that explicitly say they are formulated for cold water, wash once, clean once. It's like the carpenter's rule measure, twice, cut once, but for laundry.
Don't fall in the trap. Okay, I want to pivot a bit to the psychology of all this, because logically, everything we just laid out makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Coal saves cash, enzymes do the work, HE saves water.
The logic is sound.
But humans aren't always logical. We're creatures of habit. And I'll admit, sometimes I catch myself turning the dial to warm just because, I don't know, it feels cozier. It's just muscle memory from how my mom taught me to do laundry.
It is incredibly hard to break autopilot behaviors, and the researchers know this. They aren't demanding absolute perfection from day one.
They are.
No. In fact, they suggest a very specific, totally manageable goal to ease you into it. They call it the 3 out of 4 rule.
Okay, the 3 out of 4 rule.
Yeah. The goal isn't to swear off hot water forever. The goal is just to aim for washing 3 out of every 4 loads in cold water.
I really like that. It gives you permission to be human. You can say, all right, for the dog's muddy bed, or if someone in the house has the stomach flu, I'm going to use hot water.
Exactly. There are absolutely legitimate sanitary reasons to use heat sometimes. But for your standard jeans, your office shirts, your regular towels, cold is more than enough.
It just totally removes the pressure of having to be perfect.
It does. And behavioral science shows that once you start hitting that 3 out of 4 mark, you pull your clothes out and realize, oh, hey, they're perfectly clean, nothing bad happened.
You build trust in the cold cycle.
Right. And eventually, it just organically becomes 4 out of 4 for your regular laundry. It stops being a conscious choice and just becomes your new default setting.
And when you zoom out from just one person's house, the collective impact of that new default is wild.
It's staggering.
The source discussed this partnership between Tide and Global Citizen, specifically this campaign called the Turn to Cold Initiative.
Yeah, that campaign is a perfect case study.
Because honestly, when I see corporate hashtags like that, my first instinct is to roll my eyes. I assume it's just marketing fluff. But there are actual hard numbers behind this one, right?
Very hard numbers. The impact of just trying to educate consumers, just convincing regular people to turn that little dial to cold, has resulted in nearly 4 million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions avoided.
4 million metric tons.
Yeah. I mean, it's a number so big it's hard to even conceptualize, but it's the equivalent of taking hundreds of thousands of cars completely off the road for a full year.
Just from people washing their T-shirts in cold water.
Ex-
That really validates the whole premise we started this episode with. I think a lot of us feel a kind of climate anxiety. We feel helpless. We look at these massive global issues and think, what does it possibly matter if I do this one tiny thing in my laundry room?
Right, it feels insignificant.
But when 10 million people do that one tiny thing, the needle actually moves in a massive way.
It's what sociologists call social contagion, but in the best possible sense. You start doing it, you see your energy bill drop, so maybe you casually mention it to your neighbor, or your kids grow up seeing you wash in cold water, so that just becomes their normal.
You build a community.
Yeah.
It stops being this niche alternative lifestyle thing and just becomes the standard smart way to do chores.
Exactly. It gives you agency. In a world where we're paralyzed by the scale of the problem, this is a button you can push today in your own house that undeniably helps.
I love that. So let's bring all of this together. If a listener is standing in front of their washing machine right now, holding a basket of dirty clothes, what are the big takeaways?
Okay, first and absolutely foremost, turn the dial to cold. It cuts 90% of the energy use, saves you real money, and protects your fabrics from thermal shock.
Check. Got it. Next.
Second, check your equipment. If you're able to, switch to a high-efficiency machine. You'll use up to 80% less water, and you can run those big, full loads.
And air dry when you can, obviously.
Yes, air drying is huge bonus. But third, and this is the critical one to avoid the rewash trap, do not cheap out on your detergent. Get a high-quality product specifically formulated with enzymes for cold water.
Wash once, clean once, and finally, aim for consistency, not perfection.
Right, the 3 out of 4 rule. Just start there.
This just ties back so beautifully to the whole Roobi approach. We really believe that cleanliness shouldn't come at a cost to the environment, but it also shouldn't cost you your free time or your sanity.
It doesn't have to be hard.
It really doesn't. These are smart, simple choices. It's effective, low-impact living, basically on autopilot.
It's just the logical way forward.
Absolutely. Well, before we sign off today, I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought. We spent this whole deep dive talking about the washing machine. We talked about how 90% of its energy is just heating water, a total hidden inefficiency.
It really makes you wonder.
It does. What other machines in your house are running on a default setting right now that is quietly costing you money and carbon?
That is a very provocative thought. Like your dishwasher, are you using that heated dry setting when just opening the door and letting them air dry would work perfectly fine?
Exactly. Or your thermostat. Is your furnace running all day, heating in completely empty house just because you never bothered to program the schedule?
We just live so much of our lives on these default settings, and today we challenged the laundry default.
So I challenge you to look around your house today, see what other buttons you can stop pressing. Small changes really do make a big impact.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening. See you next time.
This has been The Clean Truth by Roobi. Keep it clean and keep it cool.